Today I want to do a video about 3 book recommendations I have about processing and butchering wild game. I think these go along well with the video I did on the books for wild edible plants. So I'm thinking maybe I'll add a playlist to the channel that's just book recommendations if I can figure out how to do that. And then anybody wants recommendations for references to add to their survival library, it'll be easy to access. So the first book I'd recommend is called Dressing and Cooking Wild Game. It's written by Teresa Marone, and then there's some other people she consulted. And I have a couple of her books on hunting and cooking and that, and I like her. She's a good author. It starts off with a section on selecting and sharpening your knives for use. I think that's a good addition. Transporting your game, and then it goes right into how to field dress. Like here's a deer being field dressed. Good full color diagrams. Everything's detailed step by step, makes it easy for you to figure out. Then from there, how to transport, how to quarter an elk or a moose, hanging and aging, skinning, the actual skinning, then goes into butchering. Excellent pictures. Then this part's on dressing small game. So it demonstrates a rabbit, a squirrel, how to skin a raccoon to keep the pelt saleable, and then portioning the small game. Then it goes into upland birds and waterfowl. Same deal. Portioning them. And just final steps and freezing. And then it goes into recipes for the rest of the book. Now, I think that first 50 pages is probably the star of the book. The step-by-step diagrams are an excellent reference to have. But the recipes are great too. I mean, it never hurts to have this kind of stuff. Now, in a bad situation, tough times, you're probably not going to be able to get a lot of the ingredients in that to work with, but that doesn't matter. You work with what you've got, and the important part is that in here is it's got things like temperatures and times and directions on how to do everything. Simply laid out, but it's a good book. Dressing and Cooking Wild Game. The second one would be The Hunter's Guide to Butchering, Smoking, and Curing Wild Game and Fish. Now this should be easy to pick out on a website because of the orange cover. Kind of works in the same fashion. Some introductory stuff. Preparation and tools. So this section, you see this went a little more in depth into the tools and introductory stuff. And then again, step-by-step photos of the butchering process. This one includes bear and feral pigs. And then even goes into some more strange things like alligator. Small game. And again, muskrat, groundhog, beaver. Eat a beaver, save a tree. Snakes, turtle. I mean, I'm not really interested in eating a turtle, but if I hadn't eaten in a week and I come across one, cowabunga. And I'll be glad I have this reference for it. Frogs. So this book goes into a larger number of species than the other one does. And again, some recipes, game birds and fowl. And this one includes a section on fish as well, which is nice. Filleting. And then the rest of the rest of the book is on freezing, canning, and cooking. Now, this is kind of just an introductory thing into canning and that. I would say it's important to also go into deeper dive in books that specialize in canning and preserving, which I can do in future videos. But as an introduction, it does a good job making sausage. Okay. And then the third one is probably going to turn some of your stomachs. It's called Extreme Survival Meat, a guide for safe scavenging, pemmican making, and roadkill. That's right. About eating at the Roadkill Cafe. So this is written by Tamarack Song, and it's talking about him. For 40 years, he has provided all of his family's protein needs from the wilds. He has picked up roadkill and scavenged the kills of other animals for that long as well. So this dude's been there and done it, so he actually knows what he's talking about. Too many of these authors will just talk about this stuff, but never don't have the experience in it. But this guy, this is what he does, and he teaches survival skills at an outdoor school and all that. So starts off with how to find dead animals, determining the cause of death, which is important. You know, you may or may not want to eat something you found depending on how it died. How to age the carcass, different signs for it, assessing the condition of it and its edibility. Practicing on roadkill. Oh yeah. Feasting protocol. So it talks about for consuming the blood, the head, internal organs, processing those organs, the fat, flesh, skin and bones, and even the marrow. Pretty in depth. And then I think what makes this book worth the price alone, this was an inexpensive book. I don't know, it was like $7 or $8, it looks like. This portion on making pemmican, this is excellent. If you don't have other means like refrigeration and ways to preserve, this is a way you can preserve meat for a very long time. Pemmican's something that's been done for hundreds of years. Really cool. So he goes through his 8-step process for how to make pemmican. And then fish pemmican. Cool. Diagrams for how to do this. So you have nothing else, the pemmican sections alone. It's a short little read, but man, just packed full of information. So I would say these first two books, I mean, they're kind of interchangeable. If you have some other book on that's got diagrams for how to butcher and process wild game, I mean, they'll probably work just as well. But of my collection and the ones I've thumbed through at stores and that, these ones I really like the pictures of and thought they were really detailed. If I had to do this in an emergency situation, I'm confident I can do it with any game I've got around here using these two books. But I'd say this third one is really unique. It's one of a kind. I've not seen any other book like this. You may not be interested in ever eating roadkill or something you found, but man, in bad times, you never know. And having a reference like this that talks about that and how to go about it, good thing to have on hand.